As for ECW, even without Paul Heyman, it still was terrible. Even though some of the wrestlers like Marcus Gavon, which is also from TNA, which is known as Monty Brown, and Elijah Book were good, talented wrestlers, but that can't save this, considering the fact that in 2007, almost every single ECW original except Tommy Dreamer left WWE. This is pretty much one of the prime examples of why this Extreme Championship Wrestling is referred to by wrestling fans as extreme crappy wrestling. It really doesn't have any charm or experience that ECW has like it was before WWE bought them. Also, I know that this is kind of stupid, and I did listen to the people hate this design, but I actually like the 2008 design of the ECW Championship. It's platinum and it's kind of cool looking. I don't understand why it's so ugly looking. Maybe it's because it's look different and it's really not that appealing. But I kind of like it. Yes, I do respect the old ECW World Champion, but it's still good looking, but I prefer the new one because it's platinum. I know people kind of, I know some people kind of prefer gold, but I kind of like platinum better. I know that this championship got really worse when Vince McMahon was wearing it, but that's a completely different story. Why? Well, several reasons. Number one is because Paul Heyman wasn't heel anymore, and Vince McMahon was feuding Bobby Lashley. But I'm not defending this. It was a god-awful, terrible idea. It just shows that WWE is just crapping on ECW even more. It's really disappointing of how ECW is just getting worse and worse when the years go by. But anyway, I really hate this. It's a poorly, terrible, god-awful thing that should have never happened. Also, another problem that I have with ECW is the fact that it's just basically another brand for young stars or old, for Matt Hardy and Christian. I mean, for Matt Hardy and Christian, they're really good guys, and I don't mind that they wear ECW championships because WWE wanted to push them a little bit. But the problem is that ever since PG got around, ECW is just basically another brand with nothing more. It's just another brand so that stars can have spotlight and be on TV, except when they're done in 2010. The only problems that this qualifies is that in the last episode of ECW, it's really not that good. You see, there's only 2 matches, and just so you know, this is just a different photo from a different pay-per-view, so this doesn't qualify as ECW, except that this is for the ECW Championship. But anyway, for the last ECW episode, they decide to have no ECW talent there, and decide to have only 2 matches and 1 promo that is just boring and lazy. The first match was decent to watch, but the last match was just a really sad way to end ECW. it's Christian versus Ezekiel Jackson in an Extreme Rules match, and that's literally how they end it. Ezekiel Jackson wins. I don't have a problem with that, since they try to push several other talent to get to the top of WWE, but it just doesn't work out. And considering the fact that after this, when NXT was made, the ECW Championship, Ezekiel Jackson, was never mentioned whatsoever. Well, they did mention that he was the last ECW champion, but that's basically it. I really didn't like the idea to have a third brand. I just really didn't. It's just way too hard to keep focus on everything of what's going on. I know I didn't talk about my thoughts about ECW that much, but I just tried to explain why this third brand isn't a good idea. WWE decided to have the brand split, have all 3 brands to be in every single pay-per-view after WrestleMania 23, and oh boy, WWE was just a terrible year for pay-per-views for the brand split. Why? Well, there were some good pay-per-views like before Backlash and after Survivor Series. But here's the thing. Between Backlash and Survivor Series, their pay-per-views were considered okay to just plain awful. I mean, seriously. Not only that, Vince McMahon made really bad decisions of having three brands have their matches in all these pay-per-views, but they're really poorly executed. And it's really a bad thing because they put quantity over quality in these pay-per-views in 2007. Like Vengeance. I know that this is the first pay-per-view that qualifies as a Night Champions pay-per-view, but it really doesn't count since it's still Vengeance. And when they have every single championship on the line with all brands coming together, it's kind of a major problem considering the fact that they put little to ever on the storyline. The matches were just kind of rushed, and the only two matches that were actually longer was the World and WWE Championship matches. And oh my god. Don't even get me started on SummerSlam and Unforgiven. I honestly feel bad for SummerSlam 2007. Why? Because it's its 20th anniversary. And the stage design was great, the backstage segments were great, but the matches were just plain bad. Oh my god. Except the last match, almost some of the matches were considered decent, okay to plain awful. The Women's Battle Royal was just completely rushed. Triple H's return didn't help this pay-per-view at all, and the World Championship match ended in the disqualification. I just cannot believe that they made this SummerSlam, the 20th anniversary, a terrible pay-per-view. I really expect something good from this pay-per-view. As for Unforgiven, it's supposed to celebrate the return of The Undertaker, but the matches are really rushed, where all three bands have their matches in this pay-per-view, and it's just gone out of control. Here's the thing. All the matches were less than 12 minutes. I'm not kidding. That is a problem. The fact that there's so many brands and so many championship and matches, it's just really difficult to put so much time and effort into these matches. The last match, the WWE Championship match was so bad that it just ended really quickly. That is just a lame excuse. Like, John Cena, Randy Orton was about to punch Father again, but John Cena stopped him and he SCF him, and John Cena's dad punched him. That's just basically the main focus of that match. As for the World Heavyweight Championship match, it was okay. It's not one of the best, but it's okay. The main event, Mark Henry versus The Undertaker. Oh my god, it is just a weakest excuse for The Undertaker's return for this celebration. The match was really not that long. It was like less than 10 minutes. That is really one of the weakest main events in Unforgiven history. Not to mention that Unforgiven this 2007's Unforgiven is its 10th anniversary. My god. They just don't know how to make these anniversary shows back then really that good. And you want to know why my problems on these brand split problems is that when they come together, they just make these pay-per-views so rushed and underdeveloped. That's how bad these pay-per-views are in 2007. Oh my god. I mean, it got better in Survivor Series of 2007, but that can't save that 2007 was a really bad year for WWE in pay-per-views. I really felt bad that all three brands just didn't put much effort on the pay-per-views whatsoever in 2007. My god, this is just really painful to go through when you want to see something really good, but all you get is just less than 12-minute matches, and poorly executed crap. But I will say that 2008 was a good year for pay-per-views. Not all of them are great, but some of them are really decent, like SummerSlam, Unforgiven, No Mercy, Survivor Series, and Armageddon. I really like these pay-per-views a lot. The brand split heel kinda got better, but next year it just got even worse. Why? Well, I'm gonna talk about the Divas Champion. I know that people really hated this championship because it shows the disrespectful to the women's division, but I'm gonna defend it for a little. Why? Because it had a reason to exist. It was supposed to exist so that SmackDown can have a females championship. I know that they don't have the cruiserweight champion, but at least they have this. And they had good matches with it in the early years, but in 2011 through 2014, I can pretty much understand why people hate this championship. I'm not defending it completely, I'm just defending of why it's made. I really just don't have I just don't have much to say except that it just discontinued in WrestleMania 32 and it got replaced to the newly women's design women's champion. So anyway, I should get back to when they start to unify the championships. I'm just gonna point out that I really didn't like this idea. Whenever they unify the championship, is that when you have to hold two championships. They did that to WrestleMania 25 to SummerSlam 2010. Yeah, it's really that long for the WWE Unified Tag Team Champions. The fact that these two championships are just there for the brands, it just doesn't excuse itself to have them unified with two brands separately. This is why I really thought that when the brand split was done, they should unify the championships at SummerSlam 2011. Why? They did this in 2009. Back then, the draft was kind of fine, but when they unified the tag team champions from different shows, both tag teams from both Raw and SmackDown had to go get those championships, then it just makes the brand split look weaker than it already is. After SummerSlam 2010, the Unified Championship was just now a Tag Team Champion. Yeah, that Unified Tag Team Champions literally went nowhere. Even though it may have won for a while, it just doesn't have an excuse to exist. Man.